So what we're going to address in this video is the quality of your squat. It's one of the most important movements, not only for hiking and climbing, but for life in general. So it's really worth making some improvements over time. Now there's three things that I really want you to pay attention to and to measure with your squat. And they are the position of your feet, whether you can get your heels on the ground, and whether you can get your back straight. So I want to go through these three factors of improving a squat and give you a couple of tips along the way. So the first thing we're going to address is, can you get your heels on the ground? Maybe this goes without saying, but what we're looking for here is to get depth in the squat, so ass to grass, or as low as you can get with your butt, with your heels on the ground. And if you can't get that done, then the first thing you're going to want to do is elevate the heels with anything you've got around, like books, or you can fold up a yoga mat a couple of times and go very, very slowly into the squat until you can get to the very bottom of the squat. Over time, you can lower that height down to magazines or something even thinner until you're able to come slowly down into the squat with your heels on the ground. And the best way to implement this, honestly, is just spending 5 minutes before every session that you do, just sitting in the squat, doing various hip mobility drills and ankle mobility drills that are based around sitting in the squat. Very easy to implement and very, very effective. Another element that we want to look at is whether you can squat with a straight back. Have a look at yourself in the mirror and see how much you can straighten your back when you come down into a deep squat. If you're finding that you're having to round your back, then it's really just a matter of, again, spending more time in the squat, but then also trying to work thoracic mobility of the spine whilst you're in that squat position. And my favorite technique for doing that is coming down into a squat. You can have your heels boosted for this as well. Place your hands together in a prayer position. Push your elbows into your knees to push out against them, and then simultaneously squeeze in with the knees. So you're trying to bring the knees in towards the midline of the body whilst having that opposing force of pressing out with the elbows. Simultaneously, you want to push your chest out, shoulders back, and try and straighten your back as much as possible. Now, to add a thoracic mobility element to that, we leave one elbow against the knee while twisting out thoracically, reaching up with the opposite elbow. We're doing reps, 5, 10, 15 on each side. More is better, and more often the better as well. And this is really one of the most effective tools for becoming more comfortable in the squat and getting deeper into that squat depth while pushing the chest out and opening up through the thoracic spine. The third and final thing to pay attention in your squat quality is the placement of your feet. So it's quite easy for most people to squat deep if they're in like a sumo stance with your feet way out outside of your shoulders. Most people will be able to get quite deep into a squat that way. The further the feet come inwards though, it tends to become more difficult. So I guess the ultimate goal is for you to squat with feet quite close together, back straight, and then heels on the ground. If you've been doing this for a while and you're still having problems with your squat depth, have a look at your ankle mobility. You can download my ankle proof program for free. I'll put a link in the description below. And if you really need to work more on hip mobility drills, I've got hundreds of hip mobility drills. I'll put a video with 8 hip mobility drills in the description you can check out as well. Implement this stuff, guys, and I know you will improve over time. Put any questions in the comments section if you have them. I'll see you on the summit, maybe in a squat.